Hello, welcome to Platty's Nerf shop. Today we have finally got our blaster done. The one we have been working on for the past few months while we've been learning to 3D print and use modelings. You ready to see the bluffs? New blasty, so good. Ready, presenting the Little Thumper. Whoa! The Little Thumper is a shell-fed blasty with interchangeable rings, so we can fire different sized shells and all kinds of different ammunitions or different firms. It also makes it compatible with other community blasters, which is nice. As there is a lot to talk about, I thought it best let you see this with the creator, Mad Moules. Over to you, Mad Moules.
Hi guys, okay, this is the Little Thumper blaster. This is basically what I've been learning to 3D print and model. I thought, well, let's just do something from scratch for fun. It will resemble things like the Platypus Warrior Cow and some of the Mika things and stuff like that, but to be honest, most things have been tried already, so let's just go from there. But it's kind of unique in the way that we've got shell setups here. It uses interchangeable rings and the spring followers to allow different size shells, so you can kit it out for however you want to play with it. If you're keen, you could use it as a primary, but it's more likely you're going to use it as a secondary, but then you can choose how you want to go. If you just have stacks and stacks of Spring Thunder shells, then I'd imagine that's the kind you're going to go for. But so we have a selection of shells there, and they work perfectly fine. And then we're into the two that we've created from scratch. First is the Little Thumper. Okay, this is effectively kind of like a, well, it's about a 40mm grenade larpiness, if you see what I mean. You get things like this. There's on my mega shell. It's good fun, and we have all the sort of normal ammo types. So we have Mega XL and Streamline Dart in the center. We have Mega, we have Rival, and we have Quad Elites, effectively. So that's one more than your Trilogy, one more than your Sledgefire, and two more than you can get out the Spring Thunder if you're using full-length darts. You can, if you've got good half-length darts with sort of tapered heads, get 8 in here if you're keen. Then we have the hot dog shells. Now the hot dog shells is something else I'm going to be working on. The size of this is very, very particular, and I'm not going to go into any more about that, but that will be quite an exciting blaster when that's done. But I also quite like the size of those shells, so I thought, well, let's just make it do those as well. Then we can get into some other interesting things. Because it can fire Spring Thunder shells, it also means it can fire the two of the shells I designed for the Platypus. It can fire my Mega XL shell, so it's obviously still got a streamlined port in the center, as well as Mega XL. So you can basically front load a Mega XL in there if you want to. And it can also fire our Snipey shell. And our Snipey shell was is basically exactly the same as something that's a bit more beefy looking over here. It's got about 14 centimeters of brass 1732 in there, and that gives you a pretty good run. It's not too long. I think it's about right for length to get the best FPS. This is currently just had its restrictors removed. It's running a stock spring. So I have seen an upgrade spring for these just come out. So I'll be trying that out. But we can see how we get on with the firing demo. But bear in mind, this is just fairly stock at the moment. I reckon we can crank it up. Okay, so then we've got my chunky sniper barrel. Now, as you're aware, if you're trying to do some snipery type stuff, you might want to have the nice beefy barrel, but you don't want to necessarily have loads of these things, long lengths, all ejecting all over the place. So this one, actually, you lock it in. So you lock it in exactly the same way you'd lock in one of the adapter rings, and this will then stay in place in the front of the blaster and allow you to just reload, and you can fire streamlines out of there absolutely fine. So that's awesome. I was going to say, I almost forgot. Besides being a sniper barrel, this is actually it's not finished. There's actually a prototype, because I'm going to try and do something slightly different later on. Because you're probably wondering why on earth I use this big chunky full-size shell when I'm actually really only bothered about the barrel. It's because the space around that brass tube is actually big enough to act as a battery compartment. So I've got a plan to add some batteries in there and probably a switch at the back, and then run some LEDs around the outside of the front. Just because it's a bit goofy and a bit fun, because this orange plastic is kind of translucent, so if you were to get a bright light inside, it actually glows orange. It's quite cool. So the idea is I'm just going to make it glow just for fun. But yeah, so that's why it's chunky. Besides all the sensible shells, we can also do some that possibly not so sensible, but we just have fun sometimes. We like playing with different shell-fed things, including the old Busbies. You know, they don't shoot great, but well, if you can make things fit Spring Thunder shells, then well, you can make an adapter and you can make them shoot better and have fun, and then well, you can experiment and you can add some brass and things like that, and if you want to make a Busby double shot shoot better, that's the way to go. So yeah, that's kind of mucking about. But getting on to some of the other things we have with this blaster, I've actually got full Picatinny on the front half, the actual barrel portion, but the body of the blaster also contains a taco rail top. Now currently I've put in a Nerf rail, but there's nothing to say you can't swap that out and have the Picatinny rail instead. So here we've got both versions, but when we're mucking about at home with everybody, everyone just wants to stick all the Nerf tactical bits on it, so we go, oh yeah, that's all tactical and stuff like that. It's not quite so serious if you want to put an actual red dot from an airsoft or something like that. So therefore you can have all kinds of combos, because we also made sure that this has got an end strike barrel lug. Not an end strike barrel lug, that's croup, it's around that end. No, stock attachment point. And so then you can do some good fun combos to see what you want it to look like. So for example, trying to do this is not very easy when your camera is a bit close. You can have something like this, you know, which for some reason reminds me of a Star Warsy thing, but anyway, that's probably just the clear shot scope that's done that. And then we will take that off and that one off, and then we're going to go a bit more launchery looking, if you see what I mean. So you can have lots of fun and you can combine it with all your kind of normal attachments. The only thing you got to watch out for is don't go mad and put a giant sniper scope on it that's really, really long, because it'll get caught. But other than that, it's all good. So moving on from that, we can get everything ready. And it takes a bit of time. I'll make sure all of the shells are loaded that we're going to use. I'm probably not going to bother all the Spring Thunder ones, just a couple. But we'll shoot all of these so that you can see what they're like. I'll fire up the chrono and we'll go from there. Cool. See you in a sec. Hi guys, okay, I've loaded all the shells ready for a quick firing demo. Chrono's on the blink at the moment for some strange reason, so I'll have to revisit that later. But we can still run through, and I can give you the sort of vague sort of thing that they were doing previously. Tried doing a quick firing demo for some shorts, and yeah, I discovered that it was best to try and take my time rather than try to swap out all the different things and everything else. Anyway, let's start with the Lil Thumper Mega XL, which looks fantastic in that great big shell. Ready? Yay! Hey, I caught it. So obviously this is Mega XL with a streamline one in the center. Obviously the streamline one's going to go like really well. The thing I will say is obviously this is still stock. The actual internals in here, the stock spring, AR was removed just so that you need that, otherwise you're going to have to interface with it. That was removed, so that's the only mod to the actual powertrain of the blaster. So yeah, eventually I think I have seen a spring for it. I'm going to get one for this so we can actually chuck these a lot better, because we're only getting 50s at the moment, but it is pretty massive. Okay, so we will try something that does like this blaster a lot, and that's Mega. And it doesn't matter whether it's the Lil Thumper shell or the Hot Dog shell or a Spring Thunder shell, Megas are good in there. So let's open them up. Here we go. Yeah, that really motors along that one. And we're now going to try a quad shell, which is really cool. This was one of the reasons why I wanted to go this big, not just for the Mega XL because I can get it in a skinnier thing, but I wanted to try and get 4 streamlined darts at one go, because that just looks awesome. Here we go. So the quad looks awesome. The only thing that would be probably more extreme is if I made one of these to fire a Boomco, because I'm sure you get an absolute load of Boomco in there. Next up we have the Lil Thumper rival shell. Now this is fairly roomy lengthways, so we've actually got 4 in here very comfortably. 5, it's only just tall enough to take 5. Now obviously, just like anyone who's used a Spring Thunder or anything like that, where you can have up to 3 in a buckshot shell, I think it's buckshot, then yeah, it is, then you can have up to 3, but obviously the more you have in there, the slower they're going to come out. You're going to lose FPS for each one, and it's the same rules apply for these, but you can go mad and you can have up to just hold the 5th one, and it might be, you might have to re-squish it to get them to just stay in, and it'll be a bit delicate. The Hot Dog one being a bit longer, it makes it easier if you want to fire 5, but obviously someone has to be really close, or you're just planning on spamming everybody next to you. Okay, for rival. So that's pretty cool. I'll go down the other end of the spectrum, and then we'll do a full 5, just so you can see the difference. Obviously with one in, it's just like a stock, well, maybe a bit more than stock knockout. Yeah, sounds pretty violent. So that was just the one. Now we're going to go the other way, and we're going to just fill it up now, and you're going to see it's going to look quite different. You're going to start seeing it dropping and things like that. Okay, so here you go. 5th one only just only just in. So we'll see how we go. Works alright, it just doesn't shoot so hard. Ready? See? And if you're using any off-brand, then if you've got some different sizes in there, that could play havoc with what your mileage is like. So you might want to just experiment what would work best. I quite like proper Nerf if I can get my hands on it. So that is all of the normal shells for Lil Thumper of the full size, apart from the sniper. So we take out the Lil Thumper sort of breech ring, if you want to call it that. So now we have a snipey shell, which is basically a converter to convert this into just a solid barrel with a brass breech. And you can obviously chuck in a streamlined dart, which is pretty rapid. Annoyingly, my chrono is not quite right at the moment, but as is with a lot of these sort of setups, you're getting, depending on the dart, anywhere between 100 and 120 FPS. It can vary depending on the dart fit, etc. If you've got one with a slightly tapered head, it's best, so it there's less chance of it catching or rubbing on the side of the brass to slow it up. But yeah, no, that is good fun. So if you don't want to run around with shells, although that's kind of the whole point, then, or if you want to take that one ambitious shot, then you can obviously use the sniper barrel. Also, this is where I wanted to make a great big drum so that I could put, I think I'm going to get 4 AAAs in here as a power pack for a lighting rig, so I can just light up the end of this sort of translucent orange. I don't know if you can see any of the patterning in it. I deliberately chose a very small, like a 10% infill, so that when it shines through, it's got like this, it's almost like a fish scale sort of fishnet kind of pattern in it, which will be pretty cool when it all glows. So we shall now try the hot dog shells. So we put in the hot dog spring follower. So as you can see, it's quite deep because it's a completely different shape for the hot dog shell. It's like a tall skinny shells instead. As I mentioned before, this is going to be for a blaster I'm sorting out from scratch, so it's going to be quite different, but I think that's an awesome looking simple shell. So we are now going to go for Mega XL. So we have hot dog Mega XL. Ready? Wow. And then pop those out. Because these are longer shells, they haven't got the followers deeper, so it can't get up to the same speed as the Lil Thumper shells to eject. So sometimes you have to kind of bank it over a little bit just so it's a bit easier for it to eject. But the Lil Thumper's fine, and the Spring Thunder shells are tiny in comparison, so they just go flying. So next up we have the Hot Dog Mega, which actually looks awesome. Already done that. Chuck him in there. Here we go. Oh. Yeah, that's got some go in it. You're looking at kind of rival speeds for this Mega. It's definitely around about the same as a single rival out of this thing. It's pretty whippy. Then we have, what have we got? Oh, we've got the triple. Okay, so this is the hot dog triple round. So this is like your Sledge Fire and your Trilogy, that sort of thing. So we'll chuck that in there. Okay. So that's pretty awesome. And then we will go for the hot dog version of the rival shell. Currently loaded with 4. Hey. Now, I'll chuck in 5 just so you can see that it fits nice. 2, 3, 4. See, we've got a bit more space. So that 5th one is more likely to stay in there, but it's still like I'd like to fall out if you hold me upside down kind of sensation. But we'll try it. Come on, stay in. Oh, it's fighting. It tried to. Yes, it did. It did. It did. I thought it was going to be alright, but it's mischief. One more go. Well, okay, fine. It likes 4. Then we have run out of hot dog. We are now going to be firing spring thunder shells. So we'll pop out the followers. Easy as that. Pop in the followers for the spring thunder shells. We will start with just a dart shell. I've got a dart zone one in there, I think. Goes very nicely. And we will now try their kitchen shell, which is in the moment, I've got a dart in there, so it's going to be like their dart shell. Yeah, with a whistler. As you can see, this is ejecting these really nicely. Mega, and obviously it's a bit like that film, that one that Brett did, was it with the breaking window, was it Sausage Thunder or something? I don't know. It was quite funny when he did his video on YouTube. Here we go. Whoa. Right, that's another one gone. We can also fire the buckshot. Oops, knocked over my little one. Okay, and go. So it gets through all the standard spring thunder shells absolutely perfect. So that kind of leaves the one random extra one that kind of still works with this blaster that I put together. That's the Mega XL spike that we did for the platypus blaster when we were kind of just learning what we were doing. That's going to go in there. But we have to front load because this is bigger than a spring thunder shell, so that's kind of would hamper the ejector and all that stuff. Okay. So there we go, guys. That is the Lil Thumper. The next thing I'm going to be working on will be the hot dog. That's going to take a while to do because that's doing it from scratch using a couple of blasters internals, but an entire body, not just a kit that bolts onto everything, onto an existing thing. So that's going to be quite elaborate and might be a while. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. This was me just trying to learn how to do 3D modeling and 3D printing. So it's kind of a first attempt. So I've learned a few things I had to redo many times. But anyway, we got there in the end. And it's not so much a thing that I was planning on vlogging to people, but if anybody's really, really keen on it, basically start putting comments in the box, you know, like and subscribe, all the rest of it. But if you're interested in this, if I get enough people that are interested, I might put it on somewhere. I don't know about charging for it. I might just put it on Thingiverse, because it needs a lot of finessing to get to this stage. You know, lots of filing and things to make things all sit nice and that. But if anyone's super interested, put comments in the below and we'll try and hook you up, because it's good fun. Cheers, thanks very much.
Yay, thank you very much. Thank you for the information. Can I take this with me? Oh, yay. Thank you very much. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. I've got to go play with my manual left. Goodbye, thank you.